Did we do it? Are we live? Drop some comments in the chat if you guys are here. So I'm not sure I know how this works. Uh-oh. What's up, everyone? Oh, we got some folks pouring in now. Look at us. Just first Friday of the year. We're all done by 4 p.m. just hopping on to watch it live. That means a lot to me, guys. Really appreciate it. We're going to hang out for a couple minutes here. I'm going to start the official podcast at the top of the hour. So you guys got any questions or want to say, hey, Jonathan, see you in the chat. What's up, my man? Alex, good to have you. I'm glad this is working. I'm not that good at being like a creator yet, so I'm glad I figured out how to go live and I can see everyone's comments. That's fun. Alex, Jonathan, you guys had a good week? Is anyone working this week? Were we all kind of like half working? I feel like I was just kind of like half working. There we go. Now it's a podcast. Twitch streaming up next. We'll see. I've been playing a lot of Fortnite. Been playing a lot of Formula One. I have a copy of Backyard Baseball from 2004 that I play on my PC. So yeah, could have a Twitch streaming future. Who knows? We'll see how this goes. Feeling charged up, dude. I do love this time of year where like we can all kind of chill for a couple of days, and then for me, like chilling just means like not physically working, but I can't turn my brain off, and I'm back and fired up with a bunch of ideas of how to make 2025 the best year yet. So it's good energy over here, you know. If you guys got any questions, go ahead and drop them in the chat. I'm starting the official podcast in 2 minutes. Just want to give everyone a chance to get in here. And then I'll talk about my business New Year's resolutions, which I don't think people do, but I'm doing them. I think it's better than pretending I'm going to go on a diet for a month. Bourbon or scotch? Great question. Bourbon. Yeah, not even a debate. Scotch is great for weaker men, I think, but bourbon, American whiskey, Tennessee whiskey, that's top of the list for me. I'm glad that you guys are aware that the content of the questions here can range from marketing to backyard baseball to bourbon. If that's not what my podcast is about, then I don't know. Top 3 bourbons in my cabinet right now. Eagle Rare, probably my fave. That's up there. Then Buffalo Trace would be a solid second. And the third one, I think it's Old Forester 1920. Be top 3 bourbons. But all right. Well, thank you. Favorite Apple Watch band you own? LOL. Get out of here, Colby. If you wear an Apple Watch, just know that 2025 is not going to be your year. And I'm sorry to deliver that news to you. But today, we are going to talk about how I plan on making 2025 the biggest and best year yet for OG. And I've seen a lot of posts this year about predictions for 2025, or here's what I think is going to happen in 2025. I'm not making predictions. I can't see the future. I don't know if I'd want to. But what I can do is I believe I can create some resolutions, some commitments for me and my marketing team that no matter which predictions come true this year, we're going to be able to find success because of these 10 things that I'm about to outline for you. So number 1, my first marketing resolution of the new year, we're going to spend more money on ads. Super simple, but we are going to make sure we spend more money on ads. I feel like that's something that sometimes goes unspoken, and sometimes I don't think it should. We want to grow this year. We want to grow a lot this year. And we know that our most proven and reliable way of selling more watches is to spend more money on ads. So every single day this year is already forecasted by how much ad spend I'm going to spend that day. And that ad spend, to be honest, serves as kind of a minimum. That's not negotiable. Spend is the one constant that we can control. So we're going to control it. On the back end of that, we're going to do everything we need to do to make that ad spend as efficient as possible. We're going to, test offers, test messaging, test creative, starting with our website, then extending it throughout our entire marketing funnel. But resolution number one, we're going to spend more money on ads. What's the cliche high school teacher quote that's like the only place success comes before work is in the dictionary? I look at that as like the only time that spend comes before growth, or the only time that growth comes before spend is in the dictionary, because G is further than, you guys know what I'm saying. Resolution number 2, we are committed to compounding our wins faster. So we use our website as our testing grounds for all new creative and messaging and offers. And when we find a new headline or message or copy or offers, when we find something that works, we're going to make sure it infiltrates our entire marketing funnel quickly. There were too many times when I look back on the last year where we found a headline that crushed on our website, and it took us a month to get it into our emails, or it took us 2 weeks to get an ad creative up with it. That is valuable time. And by committing to doing that quicker this year, I think we're going to shave a ton of time. We're going to be able to compound those wins a lot faster. And I think we're going to see the results of that come up in our top and bottom line. So that's number 2. We're going to compound wins faster. Number 3, speaking of the bottom line, it's the only thing we care about. It's the only number that we are all chasing. We have a bottom line goal for this year, and we also have a bottom line minimum for this year, which that's the one we got to hit no matter what. But we've got the goal. We are looking at it. It's forecasted every single day, all 365 days for this year already. And that is the number we are trying to hit. We're not going to chase revenue just for the sake of revenue. We're not concerned with MER or ROAS even. All we care about is how can we add the most dollars possible to the bottom line. Number 4 in my marketing resolutions, we are going to be better aligned with operations and with our inventory this year than we were this past year. We sold out of a lot of our popular watches too often and too quickly last year. Now, I used to be proud of that. I used to be like, yeah, marketing sold out so fast, we're so good. But that is not a good problem to have. That's a problem. That is a real problem to have, because the day after you sell out of everything, the numbers might look great until then, but performance is going to tank because we're sold out of some of our most popular SKUs. So this year I'm committed to not letting that happen. We're going to sell out at the right time for the business. At the most opportune and profitable moment is when we are going to hopefully sell out of all our inventory. For us, that means we're going to be tracking all sales by SKU according to the forecast by SKU every single week all year. It's something that we first implemented this past Q4, and it definitely helped us kind of start to see a bigger picture of, all right, this watch, we only have 8 days of sale left of it. We need to make adjustments, hopefully slow that down, maybe take more margin on it, maybe cut ad spend to it, maybe merch it lower on the website. On the other hand, we have this watch that was underselling drastically to forecast. So we're going to promote that one more, put it in some bundle offers, create ad creative for it. And looking at those numbers and that performance weekly, I think is really going to help us all year, where we're not going to be surprised. We're not going to wake up on a random Thursday and it's like, oh shoot, we only have 20 watches left of this watch. So we got to figure something out quicker. So I think tracking that weekly is going to help us be better aligned with ops this year. All right, number 5. This is a big one. Half my followers aren't going to like this because they work for software companies, but we will not change our tech stack unless we are experiencing real pain. Let me say that one again. We will not change our tech stack unless we're experiencing real pain. We're not going to chase shiny objects. We're not going to switch softwares for anything that could be a little bit better or could be a little bit cheaper. We lost too much time and effort and budget attempting to do that this year. We tried 3 different softwares that, for the record, are good softwares. I know a lot of brands personally that are using them that work well, but the time we spent to switch would have been better spent if we just optimized using the tool we currently had. The savings of potential money or the savings of potential slightly, better marginal performance is not worth the months we lost trying to switch some of these providers. So we are not going to change our tech stack this year unless we're experiencing a real problem or a real pain point. All right, we're halfway through. You guys still here? I need another sip of Red Bull. Stand by. Thank you all for being here. 43 of you in the chat. What's up, fam? So glad that y'all are here. Go ahead and drop in your questions for the end of this. I got 5 more New Year's resolutions to go, and then we'll get through it. Someone said Jack Daniels till I die. Love that. Let's go. All right, number 6. Me and my marketing team are going to put 95% of our time, energy, effort, and budget into selling pretty much like 5 watches, maybe 7, but that's it. The rest we need to trust are going to take care of themselves. We've done a phenomenal job. All the credit to the OGs, the Beltran brothers that design everything. Our product release calendar for this past year was epic. And we released a lot of watches that are now in our top 5 selling watches that didn't exist a year ago. And that's super exciting. But to make sure we make the most of that, to make sure we make the most out of some of our existing partnerships or some of our new styles of watches that are hot in the market right now, we're going to put all our effort possible into selling top dogs. That is hard to do when we're planning on launching a lot more watches this year. But I think what we've developed is almost a bare minimum as far as marketing output and tactics for new watches, because we don't want to get overly distracted on stuff that hasn't proven itself to be a winner yet. So every new watch we launch, we're going to give it, a lot of creative. We're going to give it primetime real estate on our website and in our email calendar and in our ads. We're going to price test it. We're going to test messaging, headlines, and creative for it. We're going to do that. But if that doesn't work, we're going to forget about it. And we're going to go right back to doing all those tactics for our watches that we know can actually sell, for the watches that are going to pay all of our bills this year. We're hopefully not going to get emotionally dragged down with like, oh, damn, we really thought this new watch was going to crush and it didn't. We need to give it a fair shake. And then if it doesn't work, move back on to what we know for a fact is going to work and going to pay all of our bills for this year. Now, number 7 comes up with a relevant question from Colby here. Are you prioritizing brand efforts in 2025? You're going to like number 7 here. We are going to start thinking about not just how to, build an e-com brand, not just how to make our marketing metrics look good. We are going to start thinking about how to build a brand that people like, that people will remember, that people will be proud to wear. And this is actually like a big shift in the way that I'm thinking about the business. I'm starting my 4th year here as the head of marketing. And up until this point, I have thought about how to grow an e-com brand, right? Thought about our online funnels, thought about Facebook ads and emails and retention and CRO. And it's been a pretty standard e-com playbook that we've executed excellently and it's worked. But this year, me and the owners, this is honestly more inspired than Ryan, our founder, than anyone. We really want to start thinking about this. Like, how do we build a watch company? Right? In the world of watches, we're going up against the Swiss giant that have arguably built some of the biggest and most respected and most aspired to brands in the world. Like Rolex, as far as a brand goes, we can argue about the watches all day. I don't know why they're not made out of whiskey barrel wood, but the brand Rolex is so strong. And they had a, whatever, 130-year head start on us and are many, many billions of dollars ahead of us in revenue. But we want to start to think about, how do we build something that people aspire to? How do we build something that people are proud to wear on the wrist? So that's number 7. Number 8, we're going to double and triple down on what worked in 2024. So this is kind of contrary to the previous point, but I think we can find a happy medium here. We grew 100% last year. That's something that we're proud of. It worked. It went great. We crushed every single forecast scenario that we had. Life is good. When that happens to a brand, I've seen it time and time again. It's so easy to get distracted with like, what's next, right? Which goes back to point 7. All this brand building stuff we want to do is all new. Is all stuff that we didn't do last year, and we're going to do that. I'm excited about those things. I think a few of them are going to pop off, but I would bet my life on our biggest wins in 2025 are going to come from doubling down on tactics that worked for us last year. And when I say double down, just so we're all clear, I mean we're going to get better at executing those. We are going to do more of them, and we're going to do them more frequently. So we are going to try to just get one layer deeper on every tactic that paid the bills for us this past year. And we're going to try to execute it really well. We're going to try to execute it a little bit better than last year, a little more often than last year, and a higher quantity than last year. And that is going to, be the driver of the majority of our growth this year. That brand building bucket that I talked about a second ago, like, we hope to see some results of it this year, but we are looking at that on a 5-year scale, on a decade-long scale. To answer Colby's follow-up question here, how am I going to measure our brand building activities? This year, we probably won't. It's going to be a lot of gut. It's going to be, maybe looking at some search volume stats, maybe looking at some organic traffic stats. But this is going to be something that is driven by a lot of gut. And my ideal outcome for this is we look back in 2030 and we go, damn, 2025 was the year that we got cool. And I don't have a more technical answer for you than that, but that's kind of how me and the guys are approaching it this year. All right, number 9, getting down to our last 2, and then I'll go to Q&A. So appreciate you guys hanging out, and I hope you guys drop some questions in for the end. I'll run through all of them. Number 9, I'm going to strive to create a stable and calm environment for my team to work in. No fire drills, no boss yelling at them, just clear, well thought out, planned in advance instructions for them to execute. I fundamentally believe that people cannot do their best work when they are stressed out. And it doesn't matter if they're stressed out about work or personal stuff or whatever. People will not do exceptional work if they're not feeling exceptional. Exceptional? No, it's not a word. People cannot do exceptional work if they don't feel great, and if they don't feel secure, and if they don't feel confident and empowered. So that's what I'm going to strive to do for my team this year. Way easier said than done. But a couple things that are going to carry over from last year. We're going to do 4-day work weeks for most of this year. And there will also be times where we do 6-day work weeks and grind late hours because we're getting ready for our busy seasons. And I think that's where some people get the work-life balance thing a little confused, because I don't look at work-life balance of like every single day I clocked out at 5 for the year and my life is balanced. I look at it like Fridays during the summer, I teed off every Friday at 10 a.m. And that's what I did that day, and that's fine. And then as we got to September, October, November, I worked harder than I've ever worked. Long hours, late nights, early mornings, Saturday days, throw it all on there. Because I don't look at balance in 1 week or in 1 day. I look at it on the year. And for us, a business that's very seasonal around Father's Day and Christmas, we're going to make sure that our team is enjoying our downtimes, is enjoying, Q1 and Q3, which are relatively slow for us. We're still going to be getting work done. And I know from my experience this year, there were days my team was, grinding at 7 p.m. on a Thursday because we wanted that off day the next day. So that's the goal. I'm going to strive to create a stable and calm and secure environment for my team to work in, because I think if I do that, they're going to do phenomenal work. All right. Last but not least here, we're going to hold ourselves to a higher standard than this past year. A high standard of communication, a high standard in our execution, in our promptness, in our organization. This past year, we kind of cowboyed our way through it, which worked and was fine. And, we can do as a small team. But the team's growing this year. And every time you add a new member or two, or you add a new tactic or two, things can break if you don't have systems and structure and processes in place to be able to support whatever output you are after. So we're going to hold ourselves to a really high standard on the process side of things, and then just on quality of our output. We're not going to do anything that's like, it's okay, let's do it. We're going to feel really, really confident about what we're doing, and we're only going to ship things that we are pumped about, because we've seen that pay off time and time again, and everything we do something half-assed ends up being a loss. And it's like, well, yeah, no shit. We didn't prioritize it. We didn't plan for it. We didn't execute it as good as we should have. So that is number 10. Going to hold ourselves to a high standard. And that brings me to the end of my marketing New Year's resolutions this year. I think it's going to lead to a great year. And again, I'm not making a predictions video because I have no clue, right? Everyone's saying that Meta ads are going to tank with this new AI bot thing they're doing. People are saying AppLovin is the future. I don't know if that's true. People are saying a lot of stuff about what the 2025 D2C ecom landscape is going to look like. I have no clue. But I believe if we hold fast to these 10 tactics that I'm committing to now, we're going to succeed no matter what the landscape is. And I think you should have something for your business like that too. So I'm going to go into some questions now, and then we'll wrap it up. Thanks everyone for hanging out on the first ever live Tactical and Practical. Hope you follow me, subscribe on Spotify or Apple or YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. But all right, let's get into some of these questions. How do you think about orders per customer or watches one and done? Repeat purchase rates are a hard thing to get in the watch category. As Sean Frank pointed out the other day on the last episode, not quite as bad as wallets, because at least some guys would want 2 or 3 or 5 watches. But it's hard. We live and die by acquisition. We have to acquire lots of high value customers in order to be able to succeed this year. But because of that kind of gives us the roadmap for what our retention tactics are. So if you are a customer who has bought from us and you're on our list, I know statistically that most of you aren't going to buy again, which means I don't care if most of you unsubscribe, which means we send a ton of emails, and we try to make them as relevant as possible to the end subscriber. And this year we're working on getting better with our segmentation to make sure every email we send is relevant to everyone we send it to. But at the end of the day, I don't really care if you unsubscribe, because statistically you weren't coming back to buy anyway. This is also why I don't exclude past customers from any of our advertising channels, because again, I don't expect them to buy anyway. So if I have to, quote, reacquire a customer, I'm okay with that, because we weren't going to get it anyway. We're already profitable on acquisition, and I would tend to think we are even more profitable on reacquisition. So it's tough to get repeat in our world, but we just kind of acknowledge that's a nature of the category that we're in, and we make sure that all of our marketing tactics map to it. All right. Next question. Thoughts on cost caps versus highest volume? Don't like cost caps. I think they are fundamentally anti what makes an e-commerce brand successful. E-com brands are not built. Great e-com brands are not built on marketing efficiency. They're built on volume. That is true 100%. I don't care what agency wants to twist that into other words, but the best e-com brands in our business, the ones that print the most money on the bottom line, don't have the better ROAS, don't have the better MER, don't have the lowest CAC. They do the most volume. And volume solves a lot of problems, and volume, even at poor efficiency, can print you a bunch of money. So I'm not a cost caps guy. The other thing I think about here, and this is to our brand specifically, our price range is so wide. You can go to our website today and buy a watch for $169, or you can buy a watch for $600. So I can't set a CAC target for one of those and expect it to work for both. So for me, I'm not interested in decreasing my CAC. I am solely interested in increasing my customer lifetime value. So I always say, like, I don't want to acquire cheap customers. I want to acquire valuable customers. And we have a product category that lets us do that. We have a great upsell system that is great at increasing AOV on the first order. And despite us not having great repeat purchase rates, we do have pretty strong retention rates for the category. So yeah, I'm not a cost caps guy. I sum up my e-commerce strategy in 9 words: acquire as many high value customers as you can afford. 10 words, damn it. Acquire as many high value customers as you can afford. We go into every year on the theory that our CAC is going to increase and there's not a whole lot we can do about it. And we found a lot more success focusing on increasing AOV and LTV. So that's why I run highest volume and not cost caps. All right. What else is going on? The Tinder swindler is here. Isn't that were you the guy in the documentary that scammed those girls into paying for jets and stuff? Because that's pretty cool. We have a low CPA, but a heavy product with relatively low gross margins. AOV is 72, CPA is 12. We did 150 grand this year. Should we just keep increasing our budget at this point to scale? Yeah, probably. I'm trying to think of the math here. Are you profitable? Are you making money? If you're making money, you should spend more on ads. That CAC to AOV ratio is great. $12 to acquire a $72 customer. Heavy product with low gross margin. Here's what I think you should do based on the info I have here, which isn't a ton. Test prices and test shipping. Like test the price of shipping or charging for it or free, or doing a threshold to unlock free shipping, especially early on in the journey. Which, first of all, let me say, 150 grand in your first year is sick. I know that's like not fun numbers in the e-com world we live in, but like, it's fucking awesome, dude. So congrats. But especially early on, like, everyone's chasing product market fit when they first start a brand. And that's great. That's all you should be focused on. But you immediately need to flip the switch into finding price market fit. I've got a podcast episode that I think is titled Finding Price Market Fit. You should go and listen to it. But basically, it explains how testing your prices, and not just once, testing them seasonally, testing them year over year, is going to help you make sure you're extracting the most margin possible per, not just per order, but per site session, which is really big. Go listen to that episode. It's gonna help you a ton. All right. Well, I think that's it. What we got here? 100 of you stopped by. Really appreciate that. I know for a fact I'm seeing comments on LinkedIn and Twitter. On Twitter and YouTube. I don't know if I'm seeing any comments on LinkedIn. So if you commented there, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. I'll go back to the stream and hop in the comments and try to answer them. But let me know if you guys like the live pod. This is fun and interesting. So thanks so much for listening to Tactical and Practical. Happy New Year, and I'll see you guys next week.